And we're back working on the Honda CRV. This is an '08 Honda CRV. And there's a complaint about an exhaust leak, a rattling. I got underneath here. And this is the problem. This pipe that comes from the engine to the muffler, this is the rear of the car, is all rusted out. So this pipe has a flange that is not there anymore because it rusted away, and that flange is supposed to be holding this hanger right here. So part of it is still there, the hanger's still there. The muffler pipe does have a flange, and these are pretty much gone too, the bolts. This is the gasket for the flange. This is one of those joints that are able to flex a little bit. That's why it has the springs. I need to figure out repair. From the exhaust leak that it was having, it was also kind of making the grease on this joint. I started coming out. As you can see, it's all wet. It's not that it's torn or anything. I think it's from the heat. It's really close to it, so I'm going to clean that up, inspect and make sure that's good. But our root cause here is right in this section. I'm going to show you guys how I'm going to fix this, so stay tuned. Here's some of the parts that I went to the store to get. I think this is going to work for me. I've done this before on another car. This is one of those split flange. I got this at AutoZone, and I got the this is the seal for the flange. That's the part number. Altogether, spent about $24, 24 and 44 cents, I think. That's what I'm gonna use to do this repair. I'm gonna use my grinder with a cutting disc to cut. Some gloves. I'm gonna get some safety glasses, and that's the plan, guys. So the idea is to use the grinder and cut here. That's part of the bolt, one of the bolts, and then cut the other one on top. I know this one I have access, right? It's easy, but the other one I might have to do something different, or maybe remove this pipe from a hanger that's down there and let it drop so I can have enough room, or pull it to the side. But if I do, I'll show you guys how I rigged it. But right now I'm gonna cut this from my grinder. I can't record it because this is from my phone, so I'll show you guys when it's done. Unless this works. Gotta try not to cut on this pipe at all, because I nicked it a little bit, so I gotta stay down here. All right, that's one bolt. I gotta do the same to the top one. Like I said, I can't damage this, and I can't damage this hanger. See, that one's cut all the way, and it's just holding on with this bracket that I guess is connected to both bolts. Now I gotta cut the one on the top, but I gotta get in here and not damage this or damage this. So I think I'm gonna rake this out of the way and try to cut it. Maybe I use a hanger or a ratchet strap to hold the pipe out of the way. I'll show you guys in a minute. Okay, so I found a bungee cord, and this is the way I rigged it, guys. There's the pipe coming from, I guess, the first muffler coming from the front of the car. I used a bungee cord, wrapped it around, and it's here hooked up to the suspension of the rear suspension here of the cross beam, and that pulled the pipe out of the way, and I think I'll be able to get in there and try to work my magic on here. I'll take my time. Like I said, I'm not trying to break the hanger, but if I do, I can always do something about that. But I'm not trying to like nick it or anything if I don't have to. I don't want to cut it for sure, and I don't want to hurt this pipe. So that's what I did, and I'll show you guys if it worked. Hopefully you guys can see me from here. See what I'm doing. Let's see if I go. Gotta protect my hand, my arm, because the sparks kind of burn a little bit. Should do this with a long sleeve shirt. That's another thing, guys. If you're doing it the same way I'm doing it, get a long sleeve shirt or something. Because a little bit of spark doesn't hurt, but a lot of sparks at a time, yeah, for sure. Really gotta get underneath right here, right in the back. Just get right there. Am I gonna use the springs again? I should use the springs. So I can't damage the springs. I separated the bracket. I mean the hanger. The hanger from the flange setup that is original. So now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna grind this right here. I'll be able to take this off and I'll have the flange freed up. Then I can work on putting the new parts, and then I gotta figure out, maybe I'll clean this up and figure out how I'm going to attach this to the split flange that I showed you guys that I'm gonna use for this pipe. All right, let's get it. Got a little bit of a fire going on. Can't have that. Okay. And so the hot metal's falling on the blanket and causing a fire. We gotta keep an eye on that stuff. Right, we got it. Okay, we saved the springs. We're gonna reuse the springs. This we cannot reuse, obviously. We got the flange freed up. I take this bracket out and clean it up. Let's just clean it up right here. You know, that's the old welds. Clean that up and see how I'm gonna weld this to the other flange. That's the way it's gonna look with the new gasket. Gotta replace this, because if you fix it, you don't replace this, and you're still gonna have an exhaust leak. You don't wanna do that. So replace that, and that's why I got a new one. That's the way it's looking. I might have to clean this a little bit just to make sure that it's in good shape and it seals well. Okay, so I got the split flange out of the package, and I got the seal, and I cleaned the bracket. I think the bracket is gonna go something like this, but I'm gonna have to weld it on there, but not till I put the split flange on, and maybe even bolt it in place, and then I can see about welding this on. In my case, I got a welder, so I'm able to do this. If you don't have a welder, you have to figure out another way of doing it, or bring it to a friend that has one, or I don't know, you know, if you're in a pinch and you want to get this done, you can wrap this with a hanger or something, with a clothes hanger. But this is the way I'm doing it, because I got the tools. Okay, so next step is to put the gasket on here. That just sits right on there. Pretty easy, pretty simple. Then line the pipes up. Split the flange. And then put it on there. And it's gonna be working just like this, guys. Gonna be, now you have a place to put your bolt on. I mean, it's pretty cool where they make these, because you imagine I would have to cut this and get a, and I guess weld a flange. Or cut it, put the flange in, then weld it. Luckily they make tools like these, or parts like this, to make life easier. Now the springs are supposed to be used because this is a flexible joint. That's what the springs are there for, to allow movement. I'm gonna try to put them on, but these are not the right bolts for those springs. You know, just want to make sure that's clear. This is not the right bolts. These are not the right bolts. I don't think they're long enough. But let's give it a shot. Okay, there's one. I'm gonna need some kind of tools to hold these together while I put the bolts in. I'll be right back. All right, fellas, so this is a pain in the ass to get the springs to work with the bolts on with this flange, right? With the split flange. Normally it takes a different type of bolts and it's just a different setup from OEM, from original equipment. I needed to use a clamp. I ended up using a clamp and holding it in place and taking it easy to try to line up the holes. Plus the split flange, you know, it moves, it splits, so you have to get the bolt hole nice and even because it's two parts and they both got to align properly. So it's a pain in the ass. It's doable. There it is. But you got to take your time. If you plan on using the springs, be honest, you can probably do without. But if you want to do it, it's doable. But you have to have one of these little clamps or something like it. They don't go super tight because you need to be able to move. But how much movement without leaking? I guess we'll find out. Now I'm gonna work on the bracket, on the hanger, sorry, to see how I'm gonna connect the hanger to work here the way it's supposed, the way it was originally. So it goes in there and somehow gets connected to this. So I'm gonna see how I put it together. I'll show you guys how it looked before the repair. All right, and I'll show you a look after when I'm done. All right, fellas, I'm all done. I welded the hanger, as you can see. I swear I can weld better than that. But that's all I got for today. So finish. and ready to go. I started the car up and I have no leak, no weird noise, no vibrations, no rattles. So this is good to go, fellas. I ended up using a 14 millimeter for this nut. You can use a 19, you can use a 9/16 if you don't have a 14. And for the inside one, I found that the 11/16 fit just fine. But if you have a 17 millimeter, that should work too. Other than that, I use a welder. And this is the welder that I use. It's just the Harbor Freight welder. It doesn't weld the best, but it works. And that's what I use, fellas. So if this video helps you out or gives you an idea of what to do, please like, share, subscribe. Criticize my weld, make a comment. Tell me what you would have done different, or what do you advise. I like to hear all that, all your comments. I read everything, every single one of them. So thank you very much and have a good day, fellas.